The evening air in Chicago carried that early autumn chill that makes the city feel sharper, more alive. We were standing on the sidewalk outside a newly renovated luxury high-rise in the heart of downtown. The glass exterior reflected the golden lights of passing cars, and a valet in a crisp uniform opened doors for residents stepping out of polished SUVs and imported sedans. She looked stunning, dressed for the kind of life she believed she deserved, heels clicking confidently against the pavement, designer purse resting on her arm. I, on the other hand, wore dark jeans, clean sneakers, and a simple charcoal jacket. No flashy watch, no expensive logos, just me. She crossed her arms and tilted her head slightly. "You're a nice guy," she began, in that careful tone people use before delivering bad news. "But let's be honest, you're not really in my league." The words didn't hit loudly. They sank in slowly. I followed her gaze as it drifted upward toward the building's penthouse balcony. The lights were on, the place looked alive. "I just see myself with someone more established," she added. "Someone who fits this lifestyle." A black Mercedes pulled up behind us, and she glanced at it instinctively. I noticed the subtle way her posture straightened whenever wealth appeared nearby. I smiled faintly. "What kind of lifestyle is that?" I asked. She gestured toward the entrance. "This. Luxury. Success. Influence. Not struggling to make it, already there." If she only knew. The irony was almost poetic. The building behind us wasn't just some place I admired. It was mine. I had purchased it 3 years ago through my investment firm after spotting potential in the neighborhood's growth. While others saw an aging structure, I saw opportunity. I oversaw the renovations quietly, working with architects, contractors, and city planners without ever attaching my name to flashy headlines. I never felt the need to prove myself through appearances. My father had always told me, if you're truly successful, you won't need to announce it. So I didn't. She studied me again, almost apologetically but still firm. "You're comfortable, maybe. But I'm aiming higher. Higher." The word lingered in the air between us. Around us, the city buzzed, horns in the distance, muffled laughter from a rooftop bar nearby, the hum of ambition that defines Chicago nights. I had spent years building something solid, brick by brick, contract by contract. Not for applause. Not for validation. Certainly not for someone who measured worth by labels and parking privileges. Still, I didn't interrupt her. I let her speak. I let her assume. Because sometimes, the clearest view of a person comes when they believe you have nothing to offer. She wasn't cruel. She was honest. And in her honesty, she revealed exactly what she valued. Status over substance. Image over integrity. I slipped my hands into my jacket pockets and looked up at the building. My building, its lights glowing against the darkening sky. She thought we were standing beneath a symbol of everything I could never reach. She had no idea we were standing beneath something I already owned. She didn't realize how much she was revealing about herself. We started walking slowly along the sidewalk in downtown Chicago, the city lights glowing against the glass towers around us. The luxury high-rise stood just behind us, its polished entrance buzzing with quiet prestige. She kept glancing back at it like it was a dream she was determined to claim one day. "I just don't want an average life," she said, smoothing her hair as a couple stepped out of the building lobby. The man wore a tailored suit, the woman draped in elegance. She watched them carefully. "I see myself somewhere up there," she added, pointing subtly toward the top floors. "The penthouse?" I asked casually. She nodded. "Exactly. That's the kind of view I belong to. Private elevators. Floor-to-ceiling windows. The best of everything." Her words weren't random. They were calculated. She was painting a picture of her standards, and silently measuring me against them. I listened without interrupting. I had learned long ago that silence makes people speak their truest thoughts. She talked about ambition, about networking events, about how important it was to be seen in the right places with the right people. She mentioned CEOs, startup founders, investors. "I need someone who's already successful," she emphasized. "Not someone still trying to get there." The irony almost made me smile again. 3 years earlier, when I first purchased the building through my company, it wasn't glamorous. The structure needed repairs, new management, and a serious redesign. Most investors passed on it because it required patience. But patience had always been my strength. I didn't chase quick attention, I built long-term value. The renovation alone took nearly 18 months. I personally reviewed architectural drafts, negotiated contracts, and approved the redesign of the penthouse she admired so much. Italian marble floors, smart glass walls, custom lighting imported from Europe. Every detail carefully chosen. And yet, here I was, standing beside someone who believed I couldn't even afford a unit inside. She glanced at my watch, simple, understated, and sighed almost sympathetically. "You're great," she said again, softer this time. "But I've worked too hard to settle." Settle. The word lingered heavier than the last. It wasn't anger I felt. It was clarity. She wasn't wrong for wanting success. Ambition is admirable. But there's a difference between wanting stability and worshipping status. Between valuing hard work and idolizing appearances. A doorman stepped outside and nodded respectfully in my direction. She didn't notice. She was too busy explaining how important social circles were, how image shaped opportunity, how relationships were investments. If relationships were investments, she was evaluating me at surface value, and deciding I had low returns. What she couldn't see was that true wealth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it walks quietly, dressed simply, observing everything. And as she continued describing the life she believed she deserved inside that very building, I realized something important. She wasn't looking for a partner. She was looking for a lifestyle. She was mid-sentence, explaining how important it was to marry into elevation, when the glass doors behind us opened. The building's property manager stepped out, scanning the sidewalk until his eyes landed on me. His posture straightened instantly. "Good evening, Mr. Carter," he said warmly, extending his hand. "I've been trying to reach you about the new commercial lease agreement." She stopped talking. I shook his hand calmly. "Yes, I saw your email. I wanted to review the final numbers in person." The manager nodded. "Of course, sir. We've adjusted the rooftop renovation budget as you requested. Also, the penthouse staging is complete. It's ready whenever you'd like to inspect it." Her expression shifted. At first, it was confusion. Then disbelief. "Penthouse, inspection," she repeated quietly. The manager continued, unaware of the tension forming beside me. "We've had 3 serious buyers this week, but we're holding for your approval. And the new retail tenant on the first floor is ready to sign as soon as you give the go-ahead." I slipped one hand into my pocket. "Let's schedule the walkthrough tomorrow morning. I'll also need updated projections for next quarter." "Absolutely, sir." He handed me a slim leather folder and a polished set of master keys. "Everything is prepared. Keys. Not apartment keys. Master keys." Her eyes dropped to them, then slowly lifted back to me. The confidence she wore so effortlessly earlier was cracking. "Wait, what is this?" she asked. I looked at her, not with arrogance, not with revenge. Just honesty. "I own the building." Silence fell between us, heavy and undeniable. The city noise continued around us, cars passing, distant music, conversations drifting through the night, but in that moment, everything felt still. You own it," she whispered. "The whole thing." I nodded. "Purchased it 3 years ago. Renovated it last year." Her mind was racing, I could see it in her eyes. She replayed every word she had just said. Every assumption. Every judgment. The manager, sensing the shift in energy, offered a polite smile and excused himself back inside. The doors closed, leaving us alone on the sidewalk again, but nothing was the same. "You don't look like," she began, then stopped. "Like what?" I asked gently. "Like someone who owns something like this." I gave a small shrug. "What does someone like that look like?" She didn't answer. Moments ago, she had spoken about leagues, status, penthouses, and belonging somewhere higher. Now she was standing beside the very person who controlled access to everything she admired. The irony wasn't satisfying the way I thought it might be. It was sobering, because the reveal didn't just expose my success. It exposed her priorities. Her tone softened instantly. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I didn't think it mattered," I replied. And that was the truth. I never wanted to be chosen for what I owned. I wanted to be valued for who I was. She looked up at the building again, but this time, she wasn't imagining herself inside. She was realizing she had just misjudged the man holding the keys. For a long moment, she didn't speak. The city lights reflected in her eyes, but the confidence she once wore so effortlessly was gone. The same sidewalk in downtown Chicago now felt like a stage where everything had shifted. "I didn't know," she finally said, her voice softer than I had ever heard it. You don't act like someone that wealthy. I gave a faint smile. What does someone that wealthy act like? She hesitated. Earlier, she had plenty of answers. Now, none of them seemed safe to say out loud. Her posture changed. The sharp edge in her tone disappeared, replaced by something almost careful. I just thought, if you had all this, you would have shown it. Most men would. That's exactly why I don't, I replied calmly. We stood there, the building towering above us, glass, steel, and silent proof. The penthouse lights still glowed at the top floor, the very symbol she had pointed to when describing the life she believed she deserved. I guess I misjudged you, she admitted. It's not about judging me, I said. It's about why you judged me. That was the part that mattered. She stepped a little closer. I didn't mean what I said like that. I just want security. I want someone successful. There's nothing wrong with wanting security, I told her. But there's a difference between wanting stability and ranking people like they're auditioning for a role in your life. She looked down at the pavement. For the first time that night, she wasn't chasing the image of luxury. She was confronting the reality of her words. You really wouldn't have told me? She asked. Not unless it came up naturally, I answered. If someone values you only after discovering what you own, that's not respect. That's interest. The wind picked up slightly, brushing past us. I realized something important in that moment. The reveal wasn't about proving her wrong. It was about confirming what I already suspected. I wanted a partner who would stand beside me when I looked ordinary. Someone who saw potential without needing proof. Someone who believed in character before credentials. Her eyes searched mine. So, what happens now? I took a slow breath. Now, I choose. Not from ego. Not from revenge. But from clarity. I care about connection, I continued. About loyalty. About being seen for who I am, not what I can provide. She nodded slowly, understanding settling in. I hope you find the life you're looking for, I said sincerely. But I need someone who would have stayed even if I didn't own that building. I handed the master keys back to the manager who had just stepped outside again, asking him to hold them until morning. Then I turned toward my car parked down the street. As I walked away, I didn't feel anger. I felt peace. Because sometimes the biggest flex isn't revealing what you own. It's knowing when to walk away.